What's going on, guys? It's Kurt, your coach of the Adelaide Absols, bringing you a draft analysis for the UPA, but I'm joined with Silver,
Yo, what's good?
Tahil,
Hey, what's going on YouTube?
and Loris.
I'm just a spectator. I don't know.
Okay, what a way to start. Let's go. So we did GBA style drafting. I've got a couple of them on with tier 2 being 120 points, some tier 3s being 100 points, you know, the usual. So first off, we'll start up with Silver's draft. Silver, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
I franchise meme because it's good. It's versatile. It gets every move to it in the game, every TM in the game. It defogs. And yeah, it does everything.
Yep, that was your first round
And
pick.
it's basically across the board.
Yeah,
I would
it's
just like to ask a quick question: is Genesis Supernova allowed in this?
no, it's banned.
No, that's banned.
That's some broken shit.
That's gone.
That's gone. I just looked down the page and I see what Nico wrote. Okay. You've got Aurora Veil here as well. Jesus Christ, please stop, Silver. That's kind of scary. Aurora Veil plus Mega Chomp. I mean, plus Mega B and Chomp. Jeez.
Why do you have Garchomp?
Because he loves his Garchomp, obviously.
Garchomp, Swords Lance, Rocker, Scarper, Z User, best dragon type ever in League format. Don't at me.
I mean, I'm not gonna at you because you're in the call, but Megatron is better. But anyways, so I do like how you do have a lot of possible setup with your Aurora Veil being a pretty solid setup. Torpedo allows it to get its protects and whatnot. You'd run a Curse Melting for the memes, but you do have Kling Clang, which is actually pretty underrated sometimes for being a shift gear set. You don't have a Z to go with it, which is understandable considering you have very solid Z users in Mew and Garchomp, but Z Kling Clang is definitely strong as well. Mega Vitro Ryan behind Aurora Veil isn't actually so much helpful, considering if Hail's up, you'd be taking Stealth Rocks on U-turn and then Hail. But Garchomp and Infernape is probably the scariest behind Aurora Veil, considering they will abuse setup the most.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then you have pivoting with Electros and Mew, as well as, of course, the Mega B. So it's a pretty well-rounded team.
Yeah, it's definitely scary to look at. It's going to be a pain to prep for, especially with Veil. Just making Garchomp even worse to deal with. Yeah, you got every hazard except for webs.
I can never fit webs.
Yeah, that's like the only thing you're missing. But I don't think your draft really needed webs when you've got Sharpedo and all of that.
Infernape and Garchomp was
Yeah.
really needed.
Scary team to go up against with a lot of potential for cleaning and sweeping.
Yeah, late game, Scarf Chomp could be a real threat.
But in my opinion, you might rely too much on Aurora Veil, considering your team does not have the best bulk. It does have Kofag, but also considering the bulk isn't too much the greatest, you might force yourself to bring more of a defensive Mew for more weeks than you would like to.
Yep. He basically hit on it now.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do have AV Electros, which is pretty solid, but you also don't want to bring that every week, so special attackers can easily tear up your team.
Yeah, that's
Does it look like you don't have like as much raw power as like a more offensive team would appreciate, mostly relying on like setup and coverage and stuff?
yeah, that's a problem that he does have. But other than that, he can work around that really well.
But you're more of an offensive player anyway, so the team suits you.
Yeah,
Yep. That was the whole plan.
that's his
I
whole
wanna
draft
see a
style.
Sharpedo put in some work.
And my week 1 Master Whip, ready to cut.
I mean, so if we're just going to talk about free W's, we might as well move on to the next team, being Hugo and the Montreal Monfernos. That's a free W if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, that's his team it's going to be a threat with offensively with Mega Mawile. Defensively, he's got like Milotic and just it's going to be a pain to break through.
You franchise Mega Mall, right?
No, he drafted that. His franchise was Tornado Saurian.
Understandable.
It's a great pivot for him too.
Oh, Hugo got Milotic. He knows I love him.
Yeah, Milotic really, that helps him with his bulk for stuff like Cloyster, which especially it doesn't want to take too many hits.
And it can go with Mega Mall for fire.
Yeah, it's a nice fire switch in. He drafted a nice...
I really liked Silver's setup, but Hugo's setup is just a lot more scarier, being Mega Mawile, Cloyster, Como, Scolipede, and Calmine Raikou. That's more scarier than Silver's, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the Aurora Veil, but very
if
solid
he had
setup.
Veil, that would have just...
Calmine Meloetta.
Yeah, if he had Veil, I don't see him losing any games.
He also has very solid speed tiers, hitting almost every number he needs to. Tornadus max at 123 is pretty solid.
Yeah. It's a very well-rounded draft with speed and...
Oh, and he even has pivot with the Alolan Persian. That's going to be annoying.
Yeah, that parting shot pivot.
He has Volt Turn, he has Parting Shot, Stealth Rock.
Dual Hazard Scolipede.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really think this draft is just...
He has every hazard except for Webs, which isn't really necessary.
I think this draft definitely fits Mega Mawile very well, with Spike scoring down all the steel types and getting things in range of Sucker Punch.
Yeah, it definitely supports Mega Mawile really well.
A ton of free switch-ins off of U-turn, Full Switch, Parting Shot.
Yeah, it's a really nice support for Mega Mawile.
He kind of looks like he's going to be forced to bring Milotic almost every week, however.
Yeah, that's
similar to Silver.
Definitely true.
Not saying that Milotic isn't a great bring every week. I do love my Milotic, but being forced not to have so many other Pokemons, it's kind of sucks.
Yeah, and another thing is, he's kind of Edgequake weak, which is kind of hard to patch up sometimes, but it's manageable.
Yeah, you can play around Edgequake a little better than Volt Beam, honestly.
Plus, you can always miss the Stone Edge, because, you know, yeah.
No, Hugo's the one that misses the Stone Edges, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you can miss, and then just, it's easier to play around Volt Beam, honestly.
So overall, he's very similar to Silver's team, to where he has a lot of offense, and he's going to have to force a little bit too much bulk on Milotic. He also does have Stunfisk. I kind of looked over that. Stunfisk being one of the gods in the low tier. But really, I mean, it's going to put a little bit... if offense is too overwhelming, it's going to be an interesting match. Unfortunately, Silver doesn't play Yugo because they are on the same team. Yeah,
that's
going to be interesting.
I do actually like Typhlosion as a bit of a sleeper, since you need like a pretty good fire resist to switch into a Specs Eruption from that thing.
True.
Yeah,
Flash
not many
Fire
switch-ins. It's a nice immunity.
Typhlosion could use some more hazard removals.
Yeah. Hazard removal is a little lacking there, with only really
we
the
don't
Thorn.
Now that I'm looking at it, yeah.
Yeah, his only removal is Torn. So,
And Rapid Spin Cloyster.
but if he's bringing that, I don't know.
Yeah, but it looks like Hugo's going to try and have most of the momentum and the offense in his favor, so hazards won't be too much of a problem for him all the time, considering he does have Scolipede, which can easily get rid of Toxic Spikes and stuff like that, but only having Defog Torn is really bad still.
Yeah, that's going to be annoying for him. Next up, we've got Nico. With the
Okay,
Orlando
time to
Magikarps.
bring out the roost.
His franchise was Necrozma, which really that's a really good franchise for Tier 1. Great all-round move pool stats. Photon Geyser being able to hit both sides.
It's pretty absurd.
Yeah.
Does of course have a greater move pool now, like Earth Power, Heat Wave. Still the previous coverage it had, like Dark Pulse and Earthquake if he does want to run a physical.
He's got
not to mention
nice bulk.
bulky Necrozma is just as good as setup.
Yeah.
Being nice bulky with Stealth Rocks or T-Wave, and then of course he gets its health regen with Moonlight. And if they don't have a Dark type, he's going to punish them with a Mono Store Power set, and it's actually just going to win.
Yeah. He's got a great amount of bulk on this team. Unlike the first two, he's got Type Null with Bronzong and Vaporeon and Gligar, which all of those can take a lot of hits. And with Vaporeon's Wish Pass, it keeps his cleanup healthy for late game.
Buzzwole can also be a very good physical tank or wall.
Yeah, it's really nice physically defensive, but it still takes a lot from Brave Birds, no matter what.
Personally, I'm really liking the Vaporeon Gligar core.
Yeah, that's a really nice core.
Yeah, this is another team that has a lot of good pivoting.
I did suggest to him to get the Vaporeon with Necrozma because it does give Cleric for Necrozma as well as, well, initially we thought he was going to get Mega Aggron, so Wish Pass was also going to be part of it, but he did not go through with that, getting Manectric. But getting a solid Volt U-turn core with Necrozma is very smart. Either weakening it down to where you can easily set up with a Autotomize Sweep, or just weakening it down to where, or just pivoting at the perfect time to get in Necrozma and set up.
Yeah.
And he has really good hazard control as well. He has Defog Whimsicott as of Ultra Sun and Moon. He has Defog Hydreigon as of Ultra Sun and Moon, and Gligar, we all know it gets Defog, and it has immunity with Defog being legal now.
I think I said Gliscor earlier, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gligar.
And he's
You
got
got it.
momentum again with Type Null with that parting shot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Type Null doesn't get defog, but Savali does.
Yeah,
That's the only
unfortunate, but
thing.
I don't think he really needs it.
Yeah, he has a whole lot of other options.
And Gengar being a spin blocker means that if he does get up rocks or something, that he can spin block, and the only way really around it would
I'm
be
just-
to fog.
Pointing it out right now, and pairing Entei with a really strong electric like Mega Manectric is just so strong. It's really hard to prep for. When I used Entei and Thun DT, it just absolutely broke apart teams. So it was very smart of him to get that. And also just throwing Gengar and Hydreigon and Buzzwole. His offense is just very, very nice. With good bulk of Vaporeon, Bronzong, and Gligar. So I feel like he's got the most well-rounded team as of so far.
Yeah.
Kind of lacks a little bit more on hazards, considering he does not get any spikes, but still works for
It
him.
doesn't really look like he needs that with his Volt Tone giving him all the momentum he needs.
Yeah, he's got Volturn with
Will
2 solid
agree.
stealth rockers, 3 solid stealth rockers.
Yeah.
So
He's
Spikes
set
would be
on
very
chip
good on
damage.
this team, but overall, I think this is my favorite out of the draft so far.
I agree so far, but I mean Nico's still ugly, so it kind of evens out.
Yeah,
Thing
and he
I'll
told
point
me I was going Mega Man, but he told me not to. So I was like, you know what? I got you.
One
then
thing I'll point
put
out
that
though
nice
is
Mega
that I
People.
think he could be limited, like, for options for Scarfers. Like Hydreigon's really good. Buzzwole can work, but the speed tier is not the best. But outside of that, he could.
That's
be
very
fine
true,
for
considering
Scarfers.
Hydreigon, even though it's a decent Scarfer, it's only 98 speed, so it's not as helpful for the possible like +1 base 100 Pokemon and stuff like that.
Gengar can work as well, but
Scarf Gengar isn't.
it can be pretty weak.
Yeah, it's always better to run a more offensive Gengar than Scarf. Scarf is just really nice if you can trick it onto a few mons and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I like that he has Buzzwole as a really good dark answer because his draft is kind of dark weak.
It's Dark Week, but then he capitalizes on it once he gets rid of the Darks with Buzzwole.
Pretty much.
Rosma and Gengar can go both abuse a team with no Dark types. And Gengar's, even as Z user, so fight Z, Gengar's just going to be able to blow some things back. That might be a counter to both Necrozma and Gengar. And then Necrozma can just win once Gengar gets rid of it.
He could, and since it's got status Z move on his Gengar, he can run like Z Taunt or something like that if he really wanted to. Like,
He could run Z Snatch, I believe, too, as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if he wants to like stop, he can taunt things to stop rocks getting up. He's got great hazard control actually with taunt.
Yeah, so very solid team overall.
Yeah,
Next up,
Gengar has so many. Oh, never mind. Oh,
Yeah.
it's not really that relevant. So
Next up, we got Innovate and the Louisville Lugias.
that his draft is interesting.
Fat.
It's fat, but his offensive pressure with Mega Medicham and Thunderous Therian capitalizes the fat, weakening the rest of the draft.
Took me a while to see the fat, because he said fat, and the only thing I saw for a while was Blastoise, and then I look further and I see a Sylveon and Blissey Core.
Yeah,
And I,
it's gonna be
Yeah,
super annoying.
he definitely has a Cleric's down pack on this team.
Alright, viewers, just remember, if you're running Seismic Toss Blissey, you're running it wrong. Anyways.
Yeah, he's got
Pardon
great
my
offensive
memes.
and defensive on both of these.
It looks like it's lacking with physical bulk,
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
no special attackers are breaking through this.
You can't
And
break
I
a
really
special.
felt like
And
really
he
felt like
also
he should
doesn't
have
have any.
drafted,
His only U-turn and Volt Switch Mon is Thunders.
That's true. Doesn't have
That is
any
true.
Volt turn.
he could have
Yep.
capitalized a lot more with this team if he drafted Webs. Thundy T, Bisharp, and Mega Medicham behind Webs would have been absolutely dreadful, as well as a Spec Sylveon.
I agree. That's
And-
disgusting.
And that Miss Magius.
If he
he
could
comes
have
together and gets it,
momentum,
I'm gonna
Webs would
tell
have
him
been
that
better.
he's on my team. I'm gonna make sure it gets good.
Yeah, honestly, just have him FA, Regice, or Sligloo. I don't know why those are on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty strange pickups, in my opinion, as well.
I think there's still
Yup.
some lower tier Webs users that he could capitalize on.
His Dragon Fairy Steel Core is very weak, in my opinion, considering that is Sliggoo. Bisharp is a decent steel, but it's pretty frail, 4 times weak to fighting as well.
The best part about it
So-
is the Sylveon, in all honesty.
Yeah, Sylveon's just
Yeah,
the
and
highlight
I
of the
just,
core.
when you think of a steel type, you want a steel type back in Dilla fairy types, and Bisharp does not switch into fairy types.
It has to come
Yeah.
in safely, which means you have to either sack or slow
And
momentum.
considering his poison type is also Salazzle, he's gonna have some trouble with offensive fairies. Salazzle does not switch in either.
Yeah. His only
Yeah,
real
I'm
fairy
looking
switch in
at
just
that.
doesn't exist. Unless it's a
I
special
look at
fairy.
this team and I'm like, well, he loses to Mons like Mega Guard, things like that.
I see the Diancie over there too.
Yeah, Mega Guard, Mega Diancie. Mega Altaria he might be able to deal with decently, but it's still gonna mess up his team.
Especially if it runs physical, it can just run him over.
But if he
Okay.
easily takes some of his transactions, gets Webs in my opinion, and maybe fix up some of his bulk, then this would be a lot better team. Otherwise, he's got pretty solid speed tiers between Thundy not being, well, you have Mega Medicham at base 100, then you have Thundy T 101. It's not helpful, but you do have like Salazzle at 117, Mismag at 105. So it's not too bad, but it could be better still.
Yeah.
That has
Maybe
some
drop
nice
for something
priority,
faster.
too. Between Bisharp, Medicham, and that's a nice priority. Maybe he wants to run Quick Attack Sylveon, but that's up to him.
It's clutch.
Yeah, he's got a nice amount of priority.
Meta.
Okay, so
Next up, we have
finishing up the
me
leads.
with the Adelaide Absols.
The Rain Man.
Yeah, the rain. This
A man who has Coco without a Halucha.
because it was sniped. Let's go.
Rest
But,
in peace.
Yeah,
If he actually got Halucha with this team, oh my god.
It would have been scary. That is true.
yeah. I franchised Coco just because it does so much work to things. It just
Oh yeah, and
It's-
one of the best
it's-
mods in Draft League format.
yeah, it's
Top 3
probably
with like Lando
the
and
best.
Celesteela.
It's the best electric type in the Draft League format. Honestly,
This is true.
Easily.
it's top 3.
No contest.
It gets both Volt Switch and U-turn, so I don't get stopped by ground types. Can be run both physically and specially because of the electric terrain with Thunderbolts. It's a great way to just chip drafts up for either Kingdra or Mega Sharpedo or something to come in late game and clean up. I got Webs just because in case I need to slow things down for Ments.
And Mammal Swine.
Yeah, mostly for the Memo, I need to slow things down so that Memo can get some damage in. I've got every hazard except for I think Toxic Spikes, which I don't think
Toxic
I really
Rook doesn't get it.
Yeah, I don't think I have Toxic Spikes, unfortunately. But I basically have all the other hazards. I don't think I really need Toxic Spikes with this, just because everything breaks things and doesn't need that. Mega Sharpedo is a great late game cleanup.
Does it have to mega immediately or wait?
I can
No,
wait.
you don't.
Good.
That's why I picked it up. It's great for a tier 2 mega. I can get some speed on it. There's not much that can really touch it once it starts speed boosting, and then megas, because it just kills
And Mega
everything.
Sharp Heater in general loves spikes and hazards on the opposing side.
So
It helps his job
beautiful.
a lot.
Yeah, it's the Kingdra in the rain, just doing a whole lot of damage. If you don't really have a good switch in, then you're not really going to be doing much. It's just going to claim kills before the rain runs out, and then I can just go back into Polytoad again, get the rain back up, and repeat.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a very good offensive weather draft. Something I'll be interested in seeing maybe in the future is like an offensive Galvantula set along with Coco for like an electric spam.
Yeah, that's definitely something, because I don't have to rely on the rain every week with this draft. The rain is nice, but I'm not relying on it every single week. And so,
Which is good.
so Galvantula could potentially put in work with maybe choice specs. Salamence can just D-dance on things. It could run Scarfed, be a late game cleanup. Toxicroak, just nice for getting chip damage, nice water immunity.
One downfall though is that your removal is the Fog Tapu Koko, and Tapu Koko doesn't really have the time to defog and waste momentum.
Yeah, and you do have webs, so it would have been better with you if you picked up a spinner. That would have really helped out the team. You probably might even be able to pick up a low tier 5 spinner instead of drafting Oricorio. So,
Yeah, I was
Oricorio I
definitely
assume
looking
you
at
got
that.
for the ghost typing though.
That was the Oricorio Fire, mostly for the flying typing, just because I needed a
Okay.
second ground immunity. Other than
That
that,
is a strange pick in my opinion.
If I were you, I would
Fire
change this
on.
right around and pick up Claydol, even though I think Claydol's garbage. You get spin and then you get your
And it's another rocker.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And the ground resist as well, which you're kind of lacking in.
yeah, that's
But even
another
though
thing.
I love Tapu Koko, especially since you can run Z Mirror Move if you really want. Really strong Koko set. And I love Salamence, both are great Z users and strong setup. We'd have to say I still like Nico's team more than yours, just because I'm considering Rain is very cheap and just some people just need to do it in Draft League, and I'm just not a big fan of it, and it seems like too simple at times. Like it's just too easy for people to run. So
Yeah, no, that's respectable. I mostly went down Rain because I wanted to try it. I wanted to grab Kingdra, and I didn't want to just have it sitting there, not in Rain.
no, you can't draft Kingdra without Rain.
That's
I mean, you
sorta why-
can, but it's so much better with Rain.
Yeah, that's sort of why I went. I should probably grab Rain if I'm going to grab Kingdra.
Use D-Dance, King J. Are you not real?
I've done it before. I'll do it again. Next
So very
up,
solid team, well rounded.
yeah, next up we have Brody with the Derbyshire Darkrais. This is an interesting one, honestly, with Mega Blastoise. Landorus was his franchise. Nice Stealth Rocker, Defogger, can be run Double Dance.
He has really good hazard control.
He does. He has a lot of hazard
Very
control
good.
here.
Yeah, 4 defoggers in Mega Blast. No, never mind.
Lando
3
T, 2
defoggers, 2
spinners, Defog
And he has-
Zapdos, Defog Clef Key.
Yeah, and it's good that he has 2 spinners, because if he decides to bring spikes Clucky, he doesn't have to defog his own hazards. He can spin with Blastoise or spin with Delmize if he chooses to bring them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice not having to run defog on Lando T since it's such a good Pokemon.
Yeah, this is a very solid bulky offense team, but in my opinion, it would have been a little bit better if he could have picked up at least one more of like a possible setup mon, because he doesn't really have the best setup personally. Lando T could be dual dance and whatnot, but it's just about it. SD Eviolite Sneasel if he wanted to, but Klefki does just provide the opportunity to get up dual screen, so it would have been better if he dropped like maybe Delmize and get more of an offensive Pokemon, considering the hazard removal does help him a lot, but having Mega Blastoise, I feel like, is just already one of the best spinners, so you wouldn't really need Dhelmise. So maybe more of a Setamon would have been better for him.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, it does look a bit lacking on the speed end. It has like Sneasel,
Yeah, he goes from...
There's a very big jump in speed tiers there.
Yeah, mons like base 130s, they can run basically adamant are modest against them.
Yeah, which is a problem for him. Dhelmise, I can see why he grabbed it for the ghost typing, but honestly, I would drop that. It just doesn't suit the draft.
If I were him, I would maybe invest in Doughblade, just because it goes really well with Porygon too, and also it still gives him spin block, and then that gives him possible setup to abuse possible screens.
Yeah, that could be a solid pickup.
He does have the
I
potential
do
to go
like
Trooper.
Kecleon a lot as a Pokemon, but I see that he has 40 points left over, so I feel like Kecleon could be something better.
Yeah, you could
Yeah,
definitely
you can
invest
pick up
more.
a Terraform.
You could even drop Dhelmise and pick up a tier 1 or tier 2 if you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see.
Or just a
next
tier
up
2, not a
is
tier 1.
Is Master Whip with the Chicago Beartics.
Don't get me started.
This man got sniped all throughout the draft. I couldn't have been any happier.
Damn.
Honestly, he has some of the best ice answers to go with Zygarde 50, which was very smart. Volcanion being the quad resist. And then you have Snorlax with thick fat, you have Piloswine with thick fat. Then you have two amazing resistant Mega Gyarados and Jirachi. Of course not Gyarados before Mega Evolution, but still very solid. And the fact he has Mega Gyarados in a league where you do not have to Mega the first turn is very solid. That's one way I would draft Mega Gyarados in a league, is if I didn't have to Mega turn 1.
Yeah, Mega Gyarados is just, I think it's a very underrated Mega. I does appreciate Celebi's Healing Wish a lot, and also webs to stop some Scarfers from outspeeding it.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely appreciates having...
That goes for Zygarde too.
They both definitely appreciate having the Piloswine as well, as like electric and ice switch-ins,
And he has
respectively.
some good returners as well. He has Rabambi, he has Jirachi, and he has Celebi.
Yeah, and he's got a great Dragon Fairy Steel with Zygarde 50, Jirachi, Rabombi, with webs from Rabombi, allowing Zygarde to be Choice Banded and not have to run D-Dance. It can run Choice Banded every so often without needing the D-Dance to kill things.
And he drafted a spinner, which is really good since he has rocks and webs and T-Spikes.
And since he doesn't have to Mega immediately, he does have, for possibly majority of the time, Dual Intimidate with him on top and Gyarados, which is really nice. Considering his team could be pretty fighting weak, in my opinion, considering Rabombe is not a resist. Gyarados before Mega is a good resist if he does bring the Intimidate ability, but other than that, he'll have to bring up bulky Celebi, which some fighting types do get U-turn and get to switch around and out, or Celebi's got to eat a knockoff, which is going to be pretty unfortunate.
He does have base
And-
Rotom, but again, the knockoff is just gonna annoy that.
Yeah, I look over Rotom because I don't count it as a fighting Jack because I just don't respect it as a Pokemon. It's just a fill-in. I just don't respect a lot of tier 5s. If it's just not solid, then I just don't acknowledge it. But
Generally,
what
I'm
I
not
think.
that big of a fan of regular Rotom. It just seems like its stats are lacking. Like, if it was like its bulk, special attack, and speed just aren't really enough for me. Like, if it had higher of one of those, it would be fine.
yeah, like I understand you want
Stats
to.
of its forms, it can be usable.
Yeah, I understand you wanted to get Spin Block along with an Electric typing at the same time, but at that point I would have picked one or another, because you could have picked up like Dusclops for a pretty solid Ghost type, or you could have picked up Electivire or Electabuzz, a pretty solid Electric type down there instead of picking one or the other.
I think.
And he can baton pass with Celebi, Nasty Plots, Calm Minds, Swords Dances.
Oh, then he's just gonna nasty
Yeah.
plot pass into Scarf Volcanion in this game. So okay.
Nihilego does look like it appreciates this team because I'm looking at it and everything either hits steel super effective or resists steel. So Nihilego really like those being weakened by stuff like Jirachi that steels have to answer.
Yeah, it's definitely. Hitmontop's nice fall removal, and with its priority Mark Punch, Bullet Punch, Sucker Punch, Fake Out, you can just chip things, finish things off if it needs to, and then go back into Snorlax to take a hit, depending on what's in front of it.
And run natural gift Hitmontop for me, please. Thank you.
You should always, once per season, if you draft Hitmontop. I love Hitmontop. It's a very solid spinner. But, so just overall, even though you did say Phantom got sniped pretty often, it still suits his playstyle. From what I've seen, he's got very bulky setup Pokemon, and then it just really works out with him. He has very solid hazard setters. He really likes T-Spikes, as we know, so Nihilego definitely works for him. And then he always likes Celebi, or at least he has it in this and SDL right now. So it will make do for his team.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we got Tyler with the... Well, Tyler likes pie, of course. His franchised Kartana is going to be a threat for a lot of teams, honestly. With Scarf, SD, Z-Move, it could be a real threat.
What is this team?
It's an interesting team. Tyler just drafts how he drafts and does his own thing.
The first thing that catches my eye is that Sandy Gast.
I mean, I can respect a meme pick, but then I saw the rest of his team. I didn't know he was memeing the rest of the time.
Yeah, he got Sandygast just because he needed it to fight in an electric immunity. So he was like, I'll just pick up Sandygast then.
It works. And let me actually break down his team here. So for hazard removal, he has Kartana, Florges, Rapid Spin, Tentacruel, and Defog Gladius, and Defog Talonflame. Considering he has Talonflame, Mega Glalie, it doesn't really, just the only things, oh, and Araquanid, I guess. They get hurt by rocks, so that's pretty good removal.
And he has every hazard.
Yeah, he does have every hazard, like Tentacruel, T-Spites, Sticky Webs, Araquanid, Spikes, Mega Glalie. Mega Glalie is actually pretty underrated, so the fact you can get the behind webs might be pretty solid. You can always bring a Spikes Explosion set too, considering he could bring setup with his Lottie after going for Explosion, or setup for Kartana, which is very solid. And even though sometimes Kartana does have to run the speed boosting set, since he does have webs, bringing just the attack boosting set might be just about all he needs, considering Kartana does outspeed most Scarfers, so if they don't have solid removal and you get up webs, then there's not probably going to be that many counters afterwards.
Yeah, that's very true. And
I really like that he has webs, but like fast Pokemon still, like Kartana and Talonflame, Latios.
Yeah, and it's definitely, with Katana, it chips a lot of things just so that Mega Glalie can come in behind webs with either Ice Shard or like Double Edge or something, and just pick things off. Lycanroc can come in with Excel Rock and also pick things off.
I do understand why he went with the Z-Mons he did, because he does have a lot of good ones on here. It's just kind of underwhelming when you do have, or kind of depressing actually, when you do have Xurkitree and Z status is allowed and you don't run Z Hypnosis, because that set is pretty underrated just because some people don't have to face it all the time, and it's pretty scary.
And I've seen Loris lose to it. Shout out.
I don't talk about that game.
Honestly, it's very common in UU. That's why I like to run on the UU ladder.
I got banned a while ago.
Yeah, I can understand. But Lottie and Kartana, I felt like they're the better Z users, so that's good. But also considering his hazard removal, Z Talonflame would also been interesting.
I don't think I would draft Talonflame if it wouldn't be able to use Z moves.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah,
But I
Tyler
mean,
I
does
really
his own
like
thing.
it still,
Speed
actually.
Tyler is Tyler, and he will do what he wants. He doesn't listen to the to standard. He just does his own thing.
Standards or common sense. Okay.
And one thing I see though is that he doesn't have oh, never mind, he has Pingoro. I didn't even see that, but I was gonna say that he didn't have a ghost resist.
Yeah,
But
no,
it still
Gengar
looks
is gonna
like
mess up.
he'll have a problem with ghosts.
Yeah, Gengar's gonna eat this team alive if it was drafted.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was.
I believe we went over that before.
Yeah, we did. Nico has it.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's
Alright,
lucky
so-
he's not on his schedule. Let's go.
Moving
Next,
on
we have
to-
Locta and then Nijmegen Kinglers, and this is an interesting one.
Ooh, Dragonite.
The
Okay, I see
is-
Dragonite with a lot of solid stealth rockers. We got Spiker Ninja. We got Linoon. Okay, this guy's got he's never mind. He has Phineas as bulky water. He had me for a little bit. Then I saw Finny. Finny's aight. But overall, the team looks pretty solid in my opinion. Just from first glances.
It doesn't look too bad. He's got a nice way to trap things.
Core is really good.
He's got a nice way to trap things with Magneton as well. So that could be interesting
Yeah,
to him.
because Dragonite, like, there's games where Dragonite is forced to bring coverage for steel types, but with Magneton, he doesn't have to be forced into a fire type coverage slot for Dragonite, so that frees up a move slot.
Especially when he's got Chandelure as well. So steel types are less likely to be able to be trapped because they'll run Shed Shell, but then they won't have the damage output to deal with Chandelure or maybe Mega Scizor or something. Rotom-Mow could be interesting. That nice Volt Switch momentum. Volt Turn with Mega Scizor and Greninja, as well as Uxie.
That's very solid.
He's got a
Yeah,
potential-
he has a lot of Voltorn on his team. He has Spikes, he has T-Spikes, he has the Foggers, he has a Spinner and a Rocker. And a couple of Rockers, he has Memento. You see if he goes to set up with Scizor or Dragonite. So that's an option in Terrakion.
I'm assuming his other Z user is Terrakion. It's not highlighted here.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not highlighted. I did update that, but anyway.
Yeah, do not sleep on Linoon.
No, Linoon should never be slept on anymore, and the fact y'all had it in tier 5 is disrespectful, but we're not even going to talk
I
about
agree
tiers right
with
now.
that, but
So,
And the fact that he has Memento Uxie with the Linoon is also scary. With Hazard.
I would have really liked if I saw him, if this was the draft with Alolan Ninetales with Aurora Veil.
That would have been an even scarier draft and just
Yes.
yeah, overall, just a pretty solid, more offensive Volturn team, but it does have some of a defensive backbone.
Yeah, just one thing I want to mention about his bulk is that even though it's pretty reliable, not reliable recovery. Uxie can run rest considering it's not affected by Tapu Finney's terrain being levitate, but I mean his only bulk that has reliable recovery is Roost Mega Scizor if he decides to bring that bulky. But Donphan, Uxie, and Finny, they're only benefiting from leftovers or like an Ipapa Berry or something like that.
Yeah, that's a problem, but it looks like he's gonna want to try to end the game fast with the sweep.
Yeah, just use the bulk that he needs to and pivot into his proper sweepers and whatnot.
So next up we have Box and the Gold Coast Gyarados. This one
I remember Box.
This one's interesting with Celesteela plus Tita.
This man has Celesteela, Latios, Megalot.
Whew.
And then his fairy being Aromatisse is relatively bulky.
Alright, I'm sorry, but I just have to point out, he's got all this power and he picks up Tyranitar, but he doesn't pick up my boy Stoutland for a low tier pick. This is
Right.
disrespectful.
Instead of Mudsdale, I feel like he can pick up. Wait, never
Hold on,
mind.
Mudsdale, okay, I'm not even gonna comment, never mind.
Something like Magmortar though, he could have switched for like Stoutland with Sand. And done a
But it was
lot
still
of
right
damage.
of him to get a fire type considering he didn't have one at the time.
Yeah.
Thanks for the message.
Yeah, this
Someone-
team is
Phantom.
going to be annoying with, yes, Celesteela and Shaman with Leech Seed, T-Tar with Sand Damage, Needle Queen, or King with potential T-Spikes.
Heliolisk with that Sand Veil, although I don't think he'd be allowed to run that just because he's self-setting
Oh, yeah.
Sand.
I want to see some hacks.
I don't want to be
It's
the one
gonna
to have to
happen.
deal with that.
Oh man, and I play him week 4. How nice.
That Mega Lop, nice fake out and just late game cleanup after maybe Tyranitar / Shaman and Nidoking chip up the draft.
Yeah, that's just really something that you pointed out that it's actually true. I don't know if he tried to rotate around that, but basically he's just going to be chipping away teams very easily.
Yeah, and
The
then
cells-
something comes in to
the
sweep.
Leech Seed Shaman, fake out Mega Lopunny, and then the sand. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And Mega
There's a lot
Lob
of
loves
chip in there.
chip.
Lopunny with T-spikes and fake out, that's just so much chip in one turn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sand, poison,
Rocks. Yeah, just
The only... well, no,
Leech
and then he has
Seed.
Solid Rockers and Tyranitar, Mudsdale, and Nidoking's pretty decent.
yeah. So he's got a few ways of chipping up teams and just a lot of different ways of getting around bulky teams because he can chip them up a lot. Drafts like Innovates get just chipped up enough for Mega Lopunny to just come through and just
then
clean
he
up.
even has Wish support for Celesteela, so...
Yep, and he has Heal Bell, our aromatherapy. He has
Also-
aromatherapy too, so that's good.
Yeah.
Deals with bulky psychics with T-Tar for Lopunny and varies with Celesteela and Nidoking.
Yeah, this is very well rounded because even Tyranitar can easily run Choice Band Pursuit for the things that can stop Mega Lopunny, whether that be a Mew or something of the sort, the really bulky psychic types.
And he can also run like Black Hole Eclipse to nuke a bulky psychic type that would be carrying fighting coverage. Or
That's true.
Continental Crush, or just something bulky to just get a lot of damage off. For Mega Lop to come in and pick up another kill.
This
And I would like to point out that he has Healing Wish and Memento on his team, which is nice.
Yeah, he
he
has
thought of just
Memento
about
with
everything with
Latios
this
too.
team. Nice job, old man.
Yeah, definitely one of the best ones.
Old man Bucks always drafting good.
Yep. His drafts are always
Otherwise.
scary. Next
For
up,
real. And I gotta play it.
yeah. Next up, we get Joe with the Chippenham Chestnuts.
Okay, so first off, all we have to mention is Z Rain Dance Manaphy.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem to deal with for a lot of drafts, I feel. They're not going to have much for a +3 Manaphy in the rain.
Yep, and if that doesn't scare you, we took one of the Cloud9 Pokemon already, being Licky Licky. There's already a counter to the sand that we saw, as well as your own Rain.
Yep. He has ways around things. He's got reliable bulk with Licky Licky Nidoqueen. And Empoleon if he wants to go bulky.
Draudigon's also pretty solid Pokemon with Stealth Rocks.
Yep.
Yeah, it could have more.
on skin, which I love.
Rotom Heat can work for Pokemon too, and Manaphy even, but I'd still like. It would be better if it had like some more actual walls, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like,
I feel like he has more tanks than walls
yeah,
as a whole.
Yeah, Superior
I really
is a
like-
massive offensive threat.
Oh
Especially
yeah, and then
just boosting.
just the Mega Gallade and Weavile pairing is just always the
Really
scariest
good.
to face.
Yep. Empoleon with the fog as well as Rotom, and that's about it for hazard removal, I think. Oh, and Superior.
that could be more.
The prayer gets the fog, Drifloon gets the fog as well.
Yeah, he's got a lot of the fog. Which
And
is
T-Spice
nice.
Nidoqueen is also really good.
Yep. He's got T-Spikes, Rocks, and that's about it. I don't think he has regular spikes.
Anything else?
So we have breaking news. Apparently there's a Z Gardevoir instead of a Z Weavile, which I do not agree with at all.
Okay, who did that? Who messed up?
Oh wait, someone did that on purpose?
I don't
Wait,
know.
what? What the heck? I was
I'm
about
gonna
to
see
say,
if he actually did it.
I see Weavile and I slap Z on it every time.
Oh no, he did put offensive guard. Okay, he did that on purpose.
Yeah, that's
Interesting.
pretty weird.
That's
I'm-
interesting.
I'm very
I
curious
already
as to
know
why
what
he
I'm
didn't
doing.
have Z Weavile.
Some kind of support specs or scarf. I don't really see Z Guard anywhere.
I think his thought process would be like a Calm Mind Z set, but I just think Weavile is a more consistent user and a better Pokemon
Definitely
in
more
general.
consistent. Because Guard isn't one of the reliable Calm Mind Pokemon, even.
Yeah.
So
It's a little
definitely gonna
frail
want
physically.
Specs or Scarf.
it's frail and it's only base 80 speed, so
Yeah, it's Mega Guard would be better, but it's still relatively frail physically. Even then, just Guard just does not like taking bullet punches at all, or any kind of priority really. Priority really hurts us. His only real reliable way to heal his sweepers is Wish from Licky Licky, or Healing Wish from Guard, which means
at least he has a nice Jock draft actually that I'm noticing. This is kind of Jock's APA's Wi-Fi Season 2 team. Got the Gardevoir, Mega Gallade, Weavile. Yeah, exact same stuff.
Oh, I just realized he had both Gardevoir and Gallade. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a joke with that. It's like bring families together.
Next up we have Hardcore with the Houston Heatrans. This one's interesting with Bulu Holucha. It's going to be a problem for a lot of teams.
Bulu Heatran is just always a good core.
Bulu
Especially since Heatran can use that Bloom Doom.
Ooh, with the solid Mega Diancie, which can abuse the Earth power. Oh, is that Sheer Force Lando Eye or Sand?
Sand Force. Sheer
I was
Force.
about to say.
Yeah, it's Sand Force Landorus, especially when he's going up against that Sand Draft later on. If he goes up against it, I think he does. I don't remember, but
So he's a very solid Earth power users to go with this team.
I'm gonna ask a question since I always get confused with how the terrains work, but if like Lando Eye or Flygon is levitating, would its Earthquake not
the
be full
Earthquakes are
power still?
weakened. It's
The
It's
Earthquake is
Earthquake,
still
Bulldoze, and something else. They're always weakened no matter what.
Okay,
just how
I'm
the
kind of
terrain works.
confused on why he has 3 ground types. It looks pretty water weak since Bulu's is only resist
Yeah, it's very water weak, which is a big
and
problem.
ice weak too. He only has Heatran.
Especially
And
since
even though AV
few
I
drafts
believe
have
he
often
picked
lose
up-
water.
decent.
He picked up Toxapex. He dropped Lando Eye.
Yeah, it hasn't been updated on the docs, but he does
Oh,
have Toxapex.
okay.
Yeah,
But
that
even
makes his
then-
team a lot better then.
Even that, it's
Yeah,
still
definitely.
kind of
And
water
a lot
weak.
scarier.
It's still kind of water weak because Toxapex can't constantly switch in if something's set up.
Well,
Even with
Toxapex and
Regenerator.
AV Bulu.
Yeah, that's about his
Yeah.
only water switch-ins. Everything else is sort of just sack and get them in.
Yeah,
That's true.
but
So versus
Bulu and Pex are consistent water resists.
Yeah,
versus
Pex
Rain,
doesn't have to
Force.
use Recover like at all. It just pivots. That's what Pex does. And it gets T-Spike, so that really helps him too.
Yeah,
Heatran and Pex with Grassy Train support is just such a good defensive core, and then Bulu Heatran is still so scary offensively.
yeah,
And then he has a Holucha to clean up.
it's
Yeah,
a scary
especially with that
draft,
seed.
honestly.
It's very offensive.
Rain,
Yeah, and then
I
it
think,
has
is the
a really
only kind of weather that abuses this team. But even then, he has Toxapex.
Yeah,
So it is abused, but Toxapex sort of just eats every hit. His reliable hazard control is Xatu and Flygon. That's it. And Mega Diancie, but
that's
Mold Breaker gets through that.
this Xatu is a pretty interesting pickup. He already has Magic Bounce.
Yeah, and he already has Hooper as a Psychic
Well,
type.
it's also defog since in Ultra Sun Ultra Moon it does get Magic Bounce and defog, so that might be his reasoning behind that. Considering he didn't really have hazard removal, actually he didn't until Xatu.
I mean,
Well,
he has
does that
Defog Flygon, but I doubt he'd ever run that unless he's running like defensive Flygon.
Yeah, no, I'd rather just bring a defog Xatu instead of a Flygon. So
Yeah, definitely. So next up we got Jury and the Amsterdam Drampers. This is another interesting draft here. The Aselgor is nice with both spikes and toxic spikes.
U-turn,
Yeah,
Mono Gamma.
yeah, it's
It can be ran offensively. Choice Specs, Life Orb, like I've mentioned. is so good slept on. I'm just kidding. It's not.
It's
Yeah.
it's just so fast that it's hard to outspeed it.
Can we just talk about the bulk on this man's draft, though?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Umbreon, the Skarmory core with the Mega Venusaur, please? Can we talk about
And
this?
Fable.
Yeah, this draft is super bulky, and then it's got offense to back it up with Tyrantrum.
Yeah, too fat.
And Emboar is a pretty good wall breaker.
Yeah,
Pretty good. It's
this
an
looks
amazing
like
wallbreaker.
it's very like extreme. Like it has 2 like insanely fast Pokemon, insane bulk, and then Tyrantrum and Emboar just hit ridiculously hard but are slow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like you wanted to pick the best of the best.
Yeah,
And it's gonna be a pain to deal with. Let's be real here.
Mm-hmm.
His hazard removal is good. He has good hazard setters. He
It's a
has
really
Fat.
well-rounded
He has
draft.
Wish.
And his fat can't even be set up on because he does have unaware Clefable,
Yep.
Yep.
as well as Hate's Cryogonal.
It's gonna be a problem to deal with. No matter how you try and get around this, it's going to take lives. No, I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
I'm a fan of
surprised
this
seeing this team making playoffs, in all honesty. It's just so well rounded. I think
Yeah,
the only
definitely
thing that
am a
really
fan of
breaks
this
this
one.
is Kyurem Black. That's about the only mon that can break this.
that breaks every team though.
Cayenne Black brings every guy.
Yeah. So anyway,
And
next,
he has 2 rapid spinners.
Yep. So next up we've got Milan and the Amsterdam Alakazams. This one's Mega Guard with Thunderous Eye and Suicune is extremely interesting. And the Cobalion.
It just looks like it has a lot of
It's
like
got a lot of bulk.
intermediate fast
then-
mons.
It's sort of like mid-speed tiers with base 100s.
I like it.
It has
Personally, I do.
some good bulk, but I could see it like having issues with certain things. Like he does not have a good fairy resist. I actually don't. Okay, he has Crobat, but it's only Crobat and Darmanitan.
And can we please talk about this man drafting the silver special? This man got Mega Guard. This man got Suicune. He got Crobat. Oh my god, he got the OG silver squad.
No guard.
Let's get it.
His Dragon Fairy Steel Core is super scary offensively, with Mega Guard, Cobalion, Haxorus. Especially with Z Haxorus being a thing, it can really break through a draft.
Yeah, I would like to have Cobalion as a Z move user, but if you only get 2, it's Haxorus is fine, and of course you want
And
Thunder.
Thundy has to be it.
Yeah, especially with that.
Exactly. Thunderous
I
is
love
Oh,
Nasty
yeah.
Plot the Z Thundy.
I want to see bulk up Z Fly if I'm being honest, but
Z-Fly.
legit.
Thunderous is amazing. I've
It's
used
just nasty.
Z-Fly.
But sometimes it's just people just can't stop it.
Yeah, if you get a Nasty Plot off and their team is super weak, and you've slowed things down with like Thunder Wave and stuff, it's just that Nasty Plot is just gonna rip through a team.
I'm gonna just put this out here. Jory, your team loses to Thunderous. Just saying that right now. You're lucky he's on your team.
Yeah.
It's true.
just having Thunderous with Prankster T-Wave is nice because it would force some setup sweepers maybe into packing Lumberry instead of an item that would help it more.
It's
And
true.
even if he did have like even with his great electric weakness, he has a electric immunity and Lantern.
Mm.
So he has Tangrowth plus Lantern to deal with electric types, and it's just and
And
Crocodile.
Crocodile.
Crocodile's a
Yeah, it's
nice
very solid.
suitor.
One thing I want to point out about y'all saying he's pretty weak to fairies, even though he is weak defensively, he can easily revenge them offensively. Not just saying that with Crobat and Cobalion, but I'm also talking about Haxorus and Thundy, because of them being able to use Z Sludge Wave as well as Z Poison Jab. Considering some fairies might want to come in on Haxorus and they'll just regret it right afterwards because they're dead.
Yeah, especially fairies like Florgs that really can't take physical hits unless they're fully invested. In a draft like this, you can't fully invest in one defense.
And
or
one
it's
good
gonna
thing about
cost you.
Hexers is that it gets unnerved, so if you're trying to bring a berry to deal with it, and they bring unnerve, you're screwed.
Yep. I love Hexers.
And it's got Mold Breaker
Okay.
for Mons with Sturdy, and Levitate.
And unaware as well, so
Yeah, it can
it
hit
break stuff like Quagsire.
and Clefable.
So very solid team. He's got pretty good setup, I would say. Yeah, no, definitely solid setup. And good bulk and whatnot. He does have Skuntank for the Memento for that setup as well.
And he has
which,
the
I
Fog
don't
on
think
Crobat and
anyone
Skuntank to deal with hazards.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like his defensive core could be a bit weak to spikes and stuff between like Tangrowth and Suicune not having recovery. But he has
Tangrowth does have
defoggers.
synthesis, but majority of the time they're going to be AV Tang probably.
Yeah, just having regen with spikes up kind of makes it worse.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
he does have decent removal. Thundy Eyes even gets the Prankster, Defog, Crobat Defog, Skuntank Defog. So they're not the best, but they're decent.
And Lantern gets Heal Bell, so that's good if Tangrowth gets poison or something.
Yeah,
And you can also
really-
have Heal Bell for a rested Suicune in the back.
Yeah, Mega Gardevoir actually does have some defensive ability too with Witch Protect. I remember I ran a physically defensive Calm Mind set once when I had it, and I think got like 4 kills.
I love Wish Protect, Calm Mind, Hyper Voice, Mega Guard if their Steel type is lacking defensively against your team.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that just has so many tools to get past walls.
And it has
Calm Mind.
and I believe it gives Healing Wish as well if he decides to use it for Thunderous Eye. If he wants Darmanitan healthy again, to use Flare Blitz, Crocodile, Haxor, Cobalion, things like that.
He
Yeah,
has a
he
lot
does
of support
have
for this draft.
those 2 very solid Scarfers with Darmanitan and Moxie Crocodile.
And he could run Scarf, Mold Breaker, Haxorus if he needed to break like a Rotom. And
Kurt,
he couldn't
please.
risk it. Well, I mean, if he can't set up a D-Dance against the team, so Scarf Haxorus is the way he can do it.
Okay, and then next up we have the
Surrey
Shuri
Snorlaxes.
Snorlax.
Surrey Snorlaxes. I would
Shuri,
assume.
Shuri.
With
Yes,
Slobber.
Shuri.
This is a scary team with Mega Absol, Kieran Black.
Change the name.
Cayenne Black.
The
He's also
Kurt
got-
one.
The
Yeah.
Kurt special.
Ooh, calling it Doomfist. That's smart.
Yeah, with like 3, 4 defoggers. if you
This
count
man
4
has so much good
Has
Heisman
removers.
control. He has,
Swallow.
oh my god. He has Spin, he has Magic Bounce,
Yeah,
he has Defiant Primate, he has Defog Rodon, Defog Glasgow with Poison
Four.
Heal.
4 defoggers if you count Swallow and Spinner and Serena, and 2 magic bouncers. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
He's got all the hazard control you could need.
Does look a bit lacking with his own hazards though. He only has Gliscor for rocks.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
one downside to
that's
it,
one
but with the
downfall.
magic bounces, he can set up their own hazards against them.
Yeah, but no one's gonna be that dumb at the same time. He's just gonna have to make a very solid prediction.
Yeah. And he's got to hope that they don't have Mold Breaker rocks or something.
Well, he can just use one of his 4 defoggers. Yeah, Kieran Black just really appreciates defog a lot, and it's just such a amazing breaker.
Especially since Slurpuff got webs now, he can webs with
Yeah.
Kieran Black and Mega Absol. Blacephalon
Even
plus webs could be
Webs,
scary.
even Webs with Boom Burst, Swallow, and Blacephalon is really good.
Yeah, Blacephalon's very scary too.
Offensively, he breaks a lot of things. He just doesn't have as much bulk, with it mainly being Serena and Rotom Wash and maybe Gliscor. But other than that, he doesn't have too much.
But like CB always says, who cares about bulk if you smashing people in the face?
Yup.
Kieran Black can pull off a bulky set too.
But more often than not, you're going to be running that offensively.
Yeah.
Bulky
Has a lot
KD
of
is actually sometimes the
Volt
best
turn,
KD.
too.
He's got Volt Turn, Bulk, offensive wall breakers. He's got basically everything on this draft. Except for
It still
hazards.
seems underwhelming. Like, I feel like it's underwhelming plus Kieran Black, and that's basically it. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Blacephalon's pretty good. Mega Absol's a little bit underrated, but Gliscor, even though it does have solid bulk and I love Poison Heal, it's still not too much. And Rotom Wash is only slightly better just because it got Devog. I still don't think it's the best mon, but
Yeah,
that's my take.
Yeah. I'm not really a huge fan of Espeon either. Especially since he already has a magic bouncer.
I mean, if he runs it shiny, then we're fine.
No,
No.
the thing's ugly.
And then that Primate is just able to scarf clean up late game as well. That's a thing. And then finally we have Andrew with the Pittsburgh Politoads.
Ooh, Rain plus Victini.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is weird. The rain team called Politoads has Pelipper and the other one has Politoad.
Yeah. It's definitely.
Well, I mean,
interesting.
Pelipper's a better Politoed, so.
Yeah, Pelipper's definitely the better range setter. I can tell
Some
that.
people complain about its
person
4 times
who wanted-
weakness to electric, but you shouldn't keep Politoed in on electric type anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, having U-turn on a weather setter is just so much better.
Mm-hmm. As well as Roost over Rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can definitely assume that person who picked the Politoad got their Pelipper sniped.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then he's also got Prankster Rain with Tornadus Incarnate.
Always smart to get. He even grabs Shuckle with webs, which might be kind of overkill, but just in case he can't abuse his rain or he doesn't want to bring in 1 week, and then he can definitely use that for both Victini to spam V-Create, as well as Swampert outside of rain, which isn't as strong at all, but still possibility.
And then he's also got Webs plus Agility Vikavolt if you wanted to go down that route.
That's very strong. That's nothing to joke about.
That
I
that
think
could definitely
Gorbis
punch
is-
holes.
Could be pretty solid on his team between Swift Swim and Shelf Smash.
Yeah. That's definitely something that people are going to have to watch out for. Shell Smash on Gorbis. Can do a lot of damage with a surf in the
solid,
rain.
But, like, when you're already facing a rain team, people are already good at prep pretty well for what a Gorbis can already do, considering the other water types are just gonna do that. Besides, of course, Swampert being like physical earthquake and whatnot. But
Yeah, that's true.
they can still be prepped for pretty decently well, even if people do look over it.
And then he's got regular Sizzle plus Rain, so that fire type weakness
I
is
mean, yeah,
weakened for
Scissor's
it.
always good with rain teams, but I'm just not the biggest on Scizor after I used its Mega Form in APA Season 2. But at the same time, I believe I would just use regular Scizor. I feel like that'd be better, so.
Yeah, regular Sizzle does seem a little bit better on Rain. Personally, because then you can use the Mega Slot for Swampert. Or another water type that will abuse the rain boosted water type stab. Goodra with a nice grass immunity for the Swampert.
Yeah, it's also like very
A really good
short
electric
rain
stun.
with the hydration potential
Yeah,
rest.
It can have Sat
Bulky
Sipper
Rest
hydration.
Hydration and Curse Goodra.
I've seen Jog use Curse, Rest, Lugia, and Rain
Yeah, at least twice, but he used it effectively, so.
really well.
And especially since it can get stuff like Power Whip and like Earthquake and stuff.
Choice Band, Sap Sipper Goodra is a set, so you could definitely bring that.
Yeah. And then he's got Mimikyu, which gives him a free hit on something. Well, from anything. To then, except for maybe Mold Breaker or Huron Black. Basically the only way they get around that Mimikyu's ability.
Now, in my personal opinion, I feel like he should have brought a, or he should have done a status Mimikyu instead, just for possible Z. Actually, no, Z-Splash isn't as strong.
No,
as
Sword
Sword
Stance
Stance.
is just better because you
Like,
can add a lot
Yeah,
more.
you'd rather
Because Victini can run Z
Sword
Sunny Day.
Dance Z move.
Victini can run Z Sunny Day to put down its rain, and then he has... Actually, that's smart. Z Sunny Days. Sunny Days with a +1.
Victini still has some interesting options for the status move pool, but I'm not sure how much I like a really big offense.
Due to technical difficulties at the end of the draft analysis here, I've had to record this again. The recording died, and so did my internet. So all of the coaches, including myself, we all liked Nico's draft here of the Orlando Magikarps with Necrozma, Gligar, and all of that. It was a general consensus that this is probably our favorite draft out of everyone. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys for week 1 of season 2.